So some yeses, some no's. And interestingly, last year, the Secretary of State for Education, Michael Gove, said that mobiles should be classed as weapons and should be banned from the classroom. You may have noticed that that is not my view. I actually think something quite different. So do many of the researchers in my field. Thank you for doing that. I'm going to ask you to text again shortly, but just for now, let's go back. When you're in class, is this what you mostly use? Does anyone use Evernote? Anybody? Have you ever heard of Evernote? All those iPhones, there's an app called Evernote. You might want to remember that. It's one of the most brilliant note-taking apps you've ever seen. You can take voice recordings, photographs of the screen, you can take notes, and it all files itself neatly away on the date you took the notes. That's got to be paper and pencil, surely. So if you've got the technology, use it in class. Does anyone take voice recordings in class? What? Not many. Okay, well maybe you don't want them, that's fine. You don't have to, by any means. But of course all your iPhones and mobiles, Blackberries, they're all equipped with voice recorders. And provided you've asked your lecturers and the other students in the class for permission to do it, then that's a very neat and easy way of capturing the lecture, isn't it? Isn't it quite helpful to go back afterwards to find out what it was you missed when you were fast asleep? Okay, I'm sure you don't sleep in your lectures. Right. A little bit of research. Professor Traxler is at the University of Wolverhampton, and he's written a lot in this area. But I think this is quite a telling statement. Looking at mobile learning in a wider context, we have to recognise that mobile, personal and wireless devices are radically transforming society's notions of discourse and knowledge. And they're making new art, new employment, new language, new commerce, deprivation and crime. This is a new dimension on society, and therefore if you are not in it, if universities are not in it, and if workplaces are not in it, they're missing a trick here. This is pretty important stuff. Okay, just a few suggestions for you, apart from Evernote, which I've already suggested. I'm sure you use Google Scholar. I'm sure you know that I'm speaking to the converted, that instead of using Google Scholar will give you academic stuff, which is handy because tutors really like that cited. And even, you've got a textbook at the library, or maybe you've got a mortgage and you've bought one, and you find the self-review questions in it. Those are the things that I must admit, when I was a student, I tended to leap over. But the self-review questions are there to help you understand, and if you don't do them, actually, it's pretty hard to respond to the, has anyone got any questions? Kind of question that you get in lectures. So it's worth having a go at them, really is, because then you know what you don't know and then you can ask the tutor. Learning groups, you may already have used them, just people you trust, people you get together with, to do assessment, to do different sorts of work, to think about a task you've been set. I think probably you will learn a great deal more from other people studying at this university than you ever will from the likes of me. It is through discussing with them that an awful lot of your knowledge is going to be constructed. So there's some suggestions, and student folio on the end, an e-portfolio system. How many people are in student folio? Okay, I suggest you check it out. It's studentfolio.brighton.ac.uk, and it could be quite interesting for you. I'll leave it at that. I won't go on about it. Okay, so that's you and technology we've started with. Let's move up a gear and have a look at what universities use to develop people for work. What are they doing here? Well, here's the picture, let's explore it. Obviously, we've got lectures. And this has really messed me about, actually, Julia, because I tell everybody I don't lecture, and here I am doing a lecture with very little participation, which is hard for me. But we do use lectures and seminars because we have to. It's a very convenient and helpful way to get ideas across and to get some chance of chatting about them, discussing them. But we also use workshops and tutorials, and I'm lucky down in Hastings because I have small groups there where I can usually run workshops instead of the lectures. But the lectures are also recorded so that people can go back to them. So we do that, and we do this, we do the vocational skills, we do transferable skills, which are absolutely vital for business students, completely vital. The CV development that you'll be doing over the space of the next year alone will be huge and really important. Anyone can write a CV. Not everyone gets a CV that gets noticed and read by an employer. So you've got lots to do there. And mentoring. Anyone who is prepared to sit down and focus on you as an individual and your career and your aspirations and your problems has to be welcomed into your heart. These are special people giving you personal time. So if you get a chance to get a mentor, and it doesn't matter whether that's within or without the university, grab it with both hands, treat them to coffee and make them feel very, very welcome. So these are the traditionals, if you like. These are the ones that this particular module is very much about. But also we're using case studies of real companies, we're using placements so that you go on placement if you're doing a sandwich degree, or if not, you may do a voluntary placement. Might be with private sector, public sector, voluntary sector groups. You might be doing problem-based learning with authentic problems. We're certainly doing that, and a number of modules in Brighton Business School are trying it. It's helpful because the problems don't come neatly packaged in business. They're going to seep out of the edges. They're going to leak into other areas of business. Business is not neatly fragmented into modules, sadly. So problem-based learning is a really good way to get into that. And projects, of course, business projects, all sorts of task projects. Industrial visits, business exhibitions, visiting speakers. These are the kind of things we throw into the mix in university to try and make sure that your learning does not feel too much like school, and it does sound something that could be authentic and useful in the workplace. The pictures happen to be of my students, and this picture in particular was taken at the Let's Do Business exhibition in Hastings. It's just about 10 days ago, with students who had to organise, set up a stand, develop a business idea, and go and talk it through with local business people and gain feedback, and that's what they're going to be assessed on. They did that within 6 weeks of joining the course, just like you. What else? We use Student Central. Of course we use Student Central. You should be using it at least weekly, preferably daily, because it's got quite a lot of stuff on there. You know all about that. But we also use things like that we can get from the web, and I sometimes think, well, maybe students think that we're cheating as lecturers when we take something that's a resource for teaching and learning straight from the web. But believe me, if you can get free stuff from Massachusetts Institute of Technology, you can get free lectures, why wouldn't you? They're going to be good quality on the whole. Might be a wee bit American in context, but they're going to be good stuff. We're going to use things like Bull Bearings. Bull Bearings is a fantasy share website where, if you haven't, has anyone been on Bull Bearings? Well, good. One and no, just you. Well done, congratulations. Bull Bearings, fantasy website. You go on and you immediately get £100,000. Sadly, it's notional, but it's a portfolio. It's basically cash which you can invest in shares. That sounds like a bit of a boring competition until you realise that on the Bull Bearings website, all the shares are live. It's real-time trading. Therefore, everything comes direct from the London Stock Exchange feed, so you can take a realistic portfolio, track companies, look at their share price variations over time, and get a load of extra company information through the website, as you can through other sites, like the London Stock Exchange itself. Absolutely masses of real-time data of how the city works and how companies are valued by their stakeholders. And then, of course, we use videos a lot. And at the bottom, I use a digital reading list called Digital Bookshelf, and that's just a very boring-looking one example. My students have just taken an exam. They've had a very short module this term of just 6 weeks, so they've already taken their first exam and had their marks. They took it online, and prior to doing that, I produced 21 5-minute videos which were meant as little lecturettes. Yeah? And it's just a simple way to remind yourself of the stuff that went on in class. hard to concentrate for a whole hour. Really quite hard. Okay, another thing that universities use is something called Gapminder. Anyone been to that website? Okay, right, you're going to have a little lesson now then. I know I was told not to teach you this, but I think we're going to learn about the last 200 years through
Visualization is right at the heart of my own work too. I teach global health. And I know having the data is not enough. I have to show it in ways people both enjoy and understand. Now, I'm going to try something I've never done before. Animating the data in real space, with a bit of technical assistance from the crew.
So, here we go. First, an axis for health. Life expectancy. From 25 years to 75 years. And down